In this episode of Local Film Talk, Conrad and I are chatting with Eryk Pruitt about the West End Summer Film Series. To get this episode before everybody else, subscribe to the Local Film Talk YouTube channel. And if you want to be the first to get the podcast, subscribe to the Local Film Talk podcast on iTunes. Let's get started, folks. Welcome everybody to Local Film Talk. This is the show where we talk to local filmmakers about the projects they're working on, hopefully get some ideas and tips you can use for your own productions. I'm Bob Walters.
And I'm Conrad Arnold of Triangle Film Community. And today we're speaking with Eryk Pruitt about the upcoming West End film series at the West End Wine Bar in Chapel Hill.
7 p.m. at the West End Wine Bar in Chapel Hill. So come on out and hang out with us and watch some great films. So what's next on the calendar?
Well, we haven't set the date just yet, but we do have another TFC meetup in the middle of June.
Sometime.
That's to be determined, because there's like all this stuff going on in the middle of June, so it makes it kind of hard.
You're not allowed to schedule it on a Wednesday now because we got West End screenings every Wednesday all summer. So now you got to work around that. See, we don't make shit easy around here. There's too much stuff going on with local film. People who are like, I didn't know they make movies around here. There is so much going on, we can't even schedule our meetups.
Yep. Also, June 25th at the Varsity in Chapel Hill, 4 years in the making, Scorpion by Roger Paris.
Vice City Shakedown.
Vice City Shakedown. In a world where cops are renegades, police chiefs are also ninjas with ninja parents in Wild West towns, and guns get fired all the time. One man will ride around in a car shooting bad guys in the face and getting it on with Jennifer Ristoli. She's his wife. Scorpion by City Shakedown coming soon, June 25th at the Varsity.
He's not exaggerating. Ninja shooting lasers in a Wild West town is a thing in this.
I've done some of the effects on it. I know that there are lasers and ninjas. I'm not bullshitting.
It is going to be wild shit. The June 25th? June 25th, 7 o'clock?
Yes.
7 o'clock at the Varsity.
At the Varsity.
I went to the wrong camera. There we go. There's no one on camera A.
There's no
That's
one.
Nobody. That's our ghost.
In a world where there's no one on camera A.
Oh, wait, I can't cycle all the way up. I can't go from A to C.
No.
I have to go through B.
You have to go through
B. It doesn't loop.
No, it doesn't loop. That's what the hotkeys would have been for, but the hotkeys aren't working.
If you guys are wondering, we are in the same location. We're not using Google Hangouts like we usually do. Oh shit! Shit!
We're not using no Google Hangouts.
It's we're using OBS, the program a lot of people use to stream on Twitch. It's kind of like your own little TV studio switcher right here on a laptop. We're using a couple webcams and everything.
I say instead of like having a film discussion, man, we just use our new system here and broadcast 5 hours of GTA 5 or something. Why the hell not?
Hey, we could, man. It's people make good money doing that shit.
Local film auto.
There are guys making six figures playing video games. Playing Overwatch right now.
I'm gonna go blow my brains out.
But we got we thought it'd be interesting to see how the conversations went when everybody's in the same room. We don't have to worry about mics cutting out and different connections. So.
It's about the same as on Google Hangouts, just more dick jokes.
Yeah, lots more dick jokes. You guys are really gonna be ashamed after listening to this one. It is worth noting. You might notice that there wasn't an episode last week. I was out of town, but Conrad did record an episode. I
shot an episode.
He did shoot an episode.
Bob didn't do anything with it.
I did nothing with it. It was the first time that we ever played with OBS.
Are you upset at Bob for not doing anything with the episode that I shot last week? If so, leave a comment below telling Bob he sucks.
If you think Bob sucks, go to iTunes. Show him how mad you are by going to iTunes and giving the show 5 stars and a positive review. But yes, Conrad did for the first time break out OBS and the webcams and do an in-person interview last week with Mike Howard and Dean Garris. Unfortunately, because we were working, he gave it to me to edit, and since I wasn't used to working with these video files and everything, it took me like 3 days to figure out just how to get it into the Adobe Premiere timeline. Adobe, why doesn't Premiere support FLV files? You created a file format, and then your other programs don't support it. What the hell? But I finally got it figured out on like Friday, and I said, well, we're recording another episode on Monday. I don't want to give that episode short shrift by only being out for 3 days. So this one will come out. Then the episode Conrad recorded last week will be next week's episode, and then we'll be back on schedule after that. So that's what happened there. You will get to see what was recorded because it was an awesome conversation about the indie film scene. They took listener questions and gave some really cool insights.
No, we didn't.
Well, you asked people ahead of time on Facebook.
We didn't really talk about
Or you
it.
made them up.
We didn't really talk about any of that. We just shared recipes.
That's right. You do make really good deviled eggs. So anyways, I think that's it for upcoming stuff. That's a little explanation of what our setup is this week and why the switching is so bad, because I'm sitting here trying to click around while we're talking.
You could totally host and switch, Conrad. It's easy. I do it all the time.
It's a hell of a lot easier when I can use these arrow keys, when you got to switch between 3 cameras. We got to figure out the hotkey situation. I think that's what we're missing here. So,
if you think local film talk is really awesome and that we should have pro switching gear, please send all checks written out to Bob Walters.
That's Bob Walters spelled C-A-S-H.
To the address below. We take your money so we can buy a Blackmagic live switcher. That would be awesome.
Yo, ooh, that would be cool. Let's do that.
Yes.
The last thing, before we run too long, the last thing we got to say is FilmSpark. FilmSpark is still taking submissions.
Yes, it is.
Throughout most of the rest of the summer.
Our promo code from the last couple of weeks is now closed. So, sorry.
So now it's going to cost you a whopping $15 to submit to FilmSpark. Still slightly cheaper than submitting to Sundance or Cannes. But I think you guys can dig it up. I think you can have a bake sale and raise the $15 to submit your movie to FilmSpark. Maybe sometime in the near future we'll get another code going.
For the price of like 3 lattes, you could submit to FilmSpark.
And really, you don't need those fancy lattes. You can go get a $1 coffee from McDonald's. You'll live.
For the price of 3 beers at a craft brewery, you could submit to FilmSpark.
And really, you could just, go to Costco and get a big thing of Listerine. You don't need that craft beer.
For the cost of like 18 cans of black beans at your local grocery store, you could submit to FilmSpark.
You're an indie filmmaker. You're used to starving anyways. Just submit to FilmSpark.
For the cost of like 150 packs of ramen, you could submit to FilmSpark.
Ramen's cheap. You can get a shitload of ramen for not much money. Oh, shit. But yeah, FilmSpark. It's coming up in middle of September.
September 15th through 18th.
And for the next 2 or 3 months or so, we're taking submissions. So submit your film. Get your other friends in North Carolina to submit their films. We're looking for short films, feature films, documentaries, probably even taking music videos, experimental stuff.
We are taking music videos.
So yeah, send us your films, and we will watch them, and hopefully it will get into the festival.
All right.
So
let's talk to Eryk.
Let us move on now to our conversation. These shenanigans are over. Let us move to our conversation with Eryk Pruitt.
Hey, what do I look like?
What do you look like? You look sexy as hell.
Wow, Bob, I really am starting to worry about you. Do I need to call your wife?
She knows. She knows I'm a deviant little bugger. All right. All right, so I will go ahead and do the intro. Do you know what events we want to talk about?
I figure we could do the intro afterwards.
Okay, just go ahead and start up with the interview. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we're here.
We're all clapping.
Woo! Clapping for the hell of it. We're just excited to have Eryk here. So we're here today we're trying out a new system. We're using OBS, Open Broadcast Software, and we actually got everybody in the same room for once.
Yep.
Conrad tried this once last week, but it took me forever to try to figure out editing the files and everything. So we'll put that out next week. So this is officially the second test of OBS, but it's the first episode you guys will see. But as you can see, we're all in the same room. I'm here. Here is Conrad. And over here is our illustrious guest, Eryk Pruitt. You look good. You look smooth.
Especially when you lean over the camera.
Yeah, really. We get a nice
Look
close-up
awesome.
of the goatee.
Well, every time I look over there, I can't see my face.
Every time you lean past the camera, your face disappears on the image. I don't know what's going on there. So, we got
why
Eryk here.
don't you sit next to Bob?
Huh?
And you could be in the same camera.
And then I can
together.
rub his leg and everything.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So we're here. We got Eryk Pruitt here because he is in charge of the West End Summer Film Series that's going to be starting in just a couple days at the West End Wine Bar in Chapel Hill.
I'm co-in charge of it. I think Bob Walters just got his hands all up in it.
I'm just doing all the paperwork. It's Eryk that's actually
And the tech, and the, yeah.
Eryk is the mastermind behind the whole thing, and Conrad is reaching over here trying to use the hotkeys that aren't exactly working.
That aren't
yet.
working. Thanks, OBS.
We'll figure it all out. But anyways, I thought it would be cool to let Eryk talk about the screening series. Maybe talk a little bit about behind the scenes of setting that up, and then of course Conrad. Mostly, I've been helping him, but mostly Conrad has been organizing Film Spark and has some experience doing other film festivals. So I thought it might be cool to share some notes about what goes into putting on a screening series versus a film festival, and just see what tips we all have in case somebody out there wants to try doing their own series. So I guess we'll start with Eryk. Why don't you go ahead and tell us,
What is the West End Film Series? Tell us all about the West End Film Series.
I'm glad y'all asked. The West End Film Series, it kicks off on June the 1st and runs every Wednesday from 7 to 9 until August the 31st. So every Wednesday, all summer long, you can pop into the West End Wine Bar at Chapel Hill, which is at 450 West Franklin Avenue, Franklin Street. 450 West Franklin Street, and we're going to have short films in there running on a big screen. We've got Mad Popper Popcorn hooking us up with some popcorn. We've got all the drinks you could want, wine, liquor, beer. We'll make special cocktails for the films. All the films that are being shown that are being screened are from area filmmakers, which is great. It's a really comfortable atmosphere for you to sit down on some couches, get your drink on, and watch some local films.
So what made you want to do this? What gave you the idea?
Well, I make films myself. I mostly write them, but I've got a couple of films, and I've gone through the process of submitting them to film festivals, along with watching the directors of other films that I've written submit them into film festivals. And the question I get asked all the time, all over town, is, where can we see Keepsake? Where can we see Leon on Command? And the answer usually is...
Where can we see more Meredith Sousy?
Exactly. The answer usually is, you got to go to, Trenton to see it at the Trenton Film Festival, or you got to go to Tallahassee or the Tucson for Tucson Terror Fest. All these film festivals all over the place, which is kind of a drag for, especially for a local community that wants to see, the film that the guy up the street wrote,
right,
and all these people in the area acting in. So I know we've had screenings scattered around at a lot of great venues, but after the UNC title game that was played, I noticed at West End Wine Bar they've got this big screen and projector that they pull out, a couple times a year for big basketball games. And I looked at that and was like, oh man, what we need is a venue. Well, we got the venue. We put out the call. You put out the call for films, and we had over 100 short films sent in from area filmmakers. So that right there is a great indicator of how rich the community is. We've seen some really good ones, and now the trick is trying to get, there's really the easy part is for the next 14 weeks we're finding content. We've got great themes. This first week we've got some that are, won awards in the film festival circuit, from Michael Howard's Baby Shoes,
Rob Underhill's Bragging East, my own Leon Unkerman, and Bev Tam's The Last Line, and Josh DeSaul's Cake. That's great. Next week, or on June the 8th, we'll have a web series week. There's actually a lot of web series that came out of this area. So,
There are a lot of them, yeah.
yeah, we're filming we're screening quite a few of them. On the 8th, on the 15th is Horror Night, which will have, we got Jason Buterin's Don't Let the Light In, Christopher G. Moore's Knobgoblins, Tom Gore's all over that thing.
Yeah,
And
we
then
got a
the
couple
20th
from Michael Babbitt. There's one or two others I can't remember off the top
Christine
of my head.
Parker.
Christine Parker.
It's basically the who's who in area of horror filmmaking. And then on the 22nd, it's the Gay Lesbian Film Block, including the premiere of Jeffrey Moore's Puppets for the State.
Nice.
Which is a hoot.
That'll be cool. So, well,
No, I just said nice.
nice. So, obviously, done film festivals before, and that's usually either one day or a couple days right in a row. Done individual screenings. I know you did Hoodoo of Sweet Mama Rosa and Keepsake. You screened both of those together at 106 Main in Durham. That was a one-night thing. This is the first thing I can think of that's like a weekly series. Like, what was the reason for wanting to do that? Because when you first came to me saying you wanted to do this over the summer, I thought you wanted to do once a month, and then you came back and said, no, we're doing it every week.
Oh,
like,
no.
Well, fuck, we need like 10 times as many movies. But what made you want to do weekly?
I think a good percentage of that is self-hatred. One screening is just hard enough, but I was like, you know what, fuck it,
Right.
So 14 screenings, yes. I think I've been asking my psychiatrist for the last two weeks, why did I want to do this every week? So I don't know the answer to that, but I don't know. Summer's long, summer's slow. A lot of our friends go out of town. Some of us stick around. It's just something to do, something to just kind of break it up, you can sit there and say, hey, it's Wednesday. What do you want to do? Let's go watch a movie. Let's go get a drink. Let's go see folks. Just something to do. I figured if I tried to do one screening up there, in the month, it would either have to be a 10-hour screening, or I'd end up leaving somebody out that just really needs to get in there. There's so many films in here. We got so many friends that it's
Right, yeah.
It's you'd end up leaving somebody out. So
Well, this is 14 weeks. That's going to be like 14, 15 hours of films we're showing. So there's a lot of crap out there.
Everybody gets in.
yeah, and it's free too. Yeah, it's free. You just need to be able to legally purchase alcohol or not.
You can still come and hang out.
Yeah, sure. You can come and hang out. But yeah, it's free. It's free. So come on out.
So did you... Now the other thing is that I guess like having it every week, like you said, it gives people something to do. Do you think that kind of also helps like psychologically ingrain it in people? Kind of like, Rocky Horror is at midnight every Friday at the Rialto. That's just kind of something people get in their heads. It's like, what's going on this week? Well, this Wednesday, there will obviously be something at the West End. Is like having it every week kind of supposed to help to drum up that repeat business?
I hope so. I sure hope so. Yeah, anything I can do to psychologically get inside anybody's head, I'm.
As the manager at the bar, repeat business is always encouraged,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. So, Conrad, you're right. This switching is more of a pain in the ass. than
I
would've
told
thought.
you.
The hotkeys would really help if I could just keep
I'm
my
just
hand
one-
here and be like 1, 3, 2,
Why don't we
1,
just
3.
turn the cameras and just all sit right there and next to each other?
Let's all sit in the same chair.
Just like arms around each other's shoulders.
Yeah.
So, but then I couldn't drink my beer. So, Conrad,
Yes.
you do Film Spark.
We do Film Spark.
We do Film Spark.
Bob is in everything. Bob's in your thing. Bob's in my thing. He's a whore.
I get around.
He's a good one.
I get around a little bit. I overcommit my ass.
He's got his fingers in a lot of different
Anuses.
pots.
That's one way to put it. Oh, Jesus. That will be edited out. So, Film Spark, you also do, I don't do much with this, but there's the scrings at
the Triangle
Cary
Film
Theater.
Community screenings at Cary Theater. Yes.
Mhm. So you've done festivals and screenings before. I guess Film Spark is the one we're working on right now.
Yes.
So talk a little about that and what it's like trying to put that on and get that organized?
Well, it's a smaller beast than what you're doing over at West End, in that we only have one weekend to worry about, not 14 separate days.
But we're trying to have almost as much content because we're talking about possibly having multiple venues, and each day we're trying to go all day.
We want to do multiple screenings in multiple venues, yes, but trying to generate 14 hours of content, I don't think we're too focused on that.
Right. Well, it's also a little easier because we've taken submissions of a couple feature films too. So that knocks out an hour and a half right there.
We got features in the mix. That's a nice chunk of time where I think you're only doing shorts. But we put Film Spark on Film Freeway. We get a lot in through there. Unfortunately, we get some entries from around the world, which if we were a truly international film festival would be awesome. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We're local only, so I keep getting entries that I have to disqualify, and I keep getting emails from people wanting me to waive the fee for them, and it's like, you shouldn't even bother because you're in Spain or Iraq or Turkey or what have you.
Foreigners need not apply.
Yeah, well, the thing is I got rules on the Film Freeway site, and the number one rule is must be made in North Carolina. That's top right there. I even had recently re-edited it to say North Carolina films only, and I'm still getting it.
I realized because I put together a Wix page for the West End film series and everything, and one of those is the submission page that has the email address and everything to submit to. And somebody submitted a film that didn't qualify. It was either from, I think it was actually a feature film was the problem. Somebody submitted a feature film. And I was like, sorry, we're not taking feature films. And they emailed me back and said, oh, I didn't see that part on the website. And I went back and I looked, and somehow across 4 pages of the website and all the stuff I wrote up, I had left out the word short. Films, local films, NC film, all that stuff, I forgot the word short. It's like, oh shit. So these things happen.
Are you guys charging a submission fee or anything? Or no, it's totally free. Well then, it's not that big of a deal. It's
it's not bad. But it's just kind of it's one of those things where they submitted, they thought they followed the rules, and suddenly I'm like, oh no, there's this unwritten rule that you didn't see on the website that you're being turned down for.
How dare you not read my mind?
Yeah, really.
And just do what I wanted you to do.
Everything else, for the most part, it's all been local. We haven't had, there's not much we've had to disqualify.
No, and that's great. And even with the things that don't disqualify, like I think you said someone sent in a documentary, which is a non-narrative, or someone sent in the feature. Just take a look at that screen. Like I would say to those people, anybody, come on in, check out the screen, check out the equipment, check out the space and the amenities. It might be something that works for you. So if you have your feature, even though we can't really fit it into this 2-hour block, because I think we've got programming set up. First 30 minutes, come in, get your drink, get settled in, pick a seat. Bob's gonna talk. 7:30 to 8:30, we're gonna show the films, and from 8:30 to 9. We're going to have a little Q&A and a discussion. So a feature film doesn't necessarily fit into that 2-hour programming block. But if you have a feature film, come take a look at the space. Maybe a Monday night, might work. Or maybe some night in the future might work for you to have your film, your cast party, your premiere, whatever in there. So yeah, even I would encourage all those that don't fit our parameters. Yeah, come check it out anyway. You still want us.
Right. Well, it's kind of like promotion for the venue, like you said. If you like this place, it's available. That's kind of something that we've found with the Triangle Film Community screenings, is that we're using the Cary Theater in downtown Cary, North Carolina, which is an awesome place. And we try not to, we tried to do screenings of multiple films, short films and everything, so we can get a bunch of people's stuff shown at once. But, they also rent that theater out, and we want to encourage people, hey, you got a feature film or a documentary or whatever that you want to, we also do free screenings, so you're not going to make any money off of getting your thing shown there, but if you want to rent out the theater and charge, tickets and everything, people are more than welcome to hit up the venue. So, not just promoting local films, but also promoting venues.
Yeah, well, you know, talk about the Cary Theater. They've been a surprisingly awesome venue for local film. I mean, that they give filmmakers pretty much the best deal around here for a venue. Like if you're renting, it's a lot lower than all these other venues, and if you do the ticket split, you know, can't go wrong. I've been really impressed with what they've done.
So speaking of venues, let's go ahead. I guess we'll start with Eryk, because obviously we know how you came with your venue. Anytime you're going to do a festival or screenings, and if anybody else out there wants to try to do such, venue is a big deal. I mean, that's obviously one of the first things you got to figure out is where you're going to do it and the logistics of it. Tell everybody how you came up with West End Wine Bar.
Well, I mean, for one thing, I work there, so
That's a good start.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, man, so anytime I'm always trying to look for something that works out and kind of fits with the programming, what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say to anybody that's out there looking for it, to think unconventionally. Everybody, to try to think you've been doing this good, making this short film on an indie budget and guerrilla style. Maybe that fits where you're going to screen it. For example, we filmed Foodie in 2012, and one of my favorite screenings of all time, the owners of Motorco, down in Durham reached out to me and were like, hey, put this on here. And we packed Motorco out. That was great. It was a music hall, it was a grungy little music hall, and it just really seemed to fit perfectly. Then later, some people that owned a goat farm wanted to show it during their potluck fundraiser, and they screened it on the side of their barn, which is also, pretty excellent to have a screening there. So, I think sometimes, us indie guerrilla style filmmakers are trying to, pretty used to thinking outside of the box. So if you can't afford, the Cinemark, or you can't afford Lincoln Theater or whatever, there's I think anywhere that you can get a screen, you can get good sound and a whole bunch of seats, hit them up. And I find especially just to, to kind of take the heat off of you in case your film's a stinker, make sure there's booze served. Lots of booze really kind of takes the pressure off of you to just really make this Oscar winner. You can release a stinker as long as booze is served there.
There you go. And of course, speaking of other venues that you don't necessarily work at, you've done a lot of stuff. Not just some film screenings, but also North the Bar stuff.
Oh yeah.
Over at 106 Main.
106 Main is one of my favorite. I guess outside of the bar where I work at, 106 Main is my favorite. Watering hole in the entire triangle. 106 Main is the name of the bar and the address. We filmed a couple of local film talk episodes there.
Mm-hmm.
The Noir at the Bar series, which we do every year, and in fact, we're doing on June the 16th at 106 Main. Hell of a lineup. So that's being done at 106. Mike has done screenings there. Let you put up your own screen. Let you hook up whatever you need to. Mike's a great guy.
So it sounds like one of the key things is, of course, finding not just a nice venue, but a cool owner.
Yeah,
That's not going to give you a lot of flack.
I mean, it's the lesson that you should have all learned in college if you learned nothing else, and that's don't be a dick to the bartender. If you're nice to the bartender, all entire worlds will open up to you. Just don't be a dick to the bartender.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what you'll find out.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And Conrad, locations for, I guess, how did you guys come to the Cary Theater for the Triangle Film Community screenings? And then also, I guess, if you want to talk a little about finding locations for Film Spark.
Well, I kind of lucked out, man. Back when Josh was co-organizer of the group, he was the one who initiated talks with the Cary Theater. And, I went with him on one of the first meetings and started talking with Joy over there, and we've just grown it since then. We've used other venues in the past. We've used Carolina Theater. We used Raleighwood. I think we used a Spectre Gallery, I think it's called, out in Durham, where we had
that one where you do it in the yard on the side?
We did it in the yard.
Oh
there,
yeah, that
right.
one was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. That's a nice place. Maybe with the weather warming up, we can do something there again.
Right.
But yeah, venues are hard, man. We're really fortunate that we do have some around here that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
But I think going back to kind of like something you were talking about before, you know, like you're screening in Motorco and you're screening in that barn. I think as indie filmmakers, we really need to start thinking about screening everywhere we possibly can. What I keep running into are people who have put all this time and effort into making a film, but they're really limited as to where they can show it because all these festivals have rules about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay, great, you just put all of this like money and effort and your life into this thing, and now you can't show it to anybody. You know, you have to pay more money for the possibility of it screening for free somewhere else. And I'm saying this as someone who is organizing a festival. I realize that, but it's just like I think we kind of just need to take ownership of our own exhibition at this point, because you know it's the mainstream theaters like AMC's and whatnot. We're not going to get those places. We're not going to get in. They're going to be prohibitive to rent. You know, like, hey, let's pay $900 to rent a theater to show our movie. It's just, that's high, man. You know, rock venues are awesome though. You know, Motorco, like you brought up. You know, I organized a screening for Superfilms there a few years back, and they were awesome to work with. I did another one for Superfilms at King's, and you know, they got great sound systems. You get a screen in there. A lot of those places have like folding chairs ready to go. It's the micro cinema movement all over again.
See, I'm a big fan of that, because especially, you know, after my experience of submitting films into film festivals, I don't think that's I don't find that as a sustainable model for getting your films out there. Or at least I don't. I mean, I guess if you're some asshole that's got your stuff in a can every week or, you know, every year, or Sundance, and yeah, sure, you're spending a couple $1 million on a short film. That's great. But, you know, we're on a micro budget. We're trying to show these films, and we got to pay money to submit to these guys that are maybe going to screen them to a room full of other filmmaker assholes. You know what I mean? Way the fuck out in, you know, wherever the hell. You know, as opposed to, like, you know, like I said, our friends, our people, our civilians, the Hammond Eggers out there, they want to watch these films. And they don't really get the access to them. What, you got to go pay $30 for an all-day pass to go watch 10 movies, 9 of which are probably stinkers. They're just wanting to see, you know, their friend, their neighbor, or whoever's film. You know, that I think that's something that, like you said, it is on us to do, is to go out there and find the places to show these films. You know, find a rock venue, find a barn to screen them on, and get your shit out there, because, you know, nobody's really going to load up a car and go drive and pay a ticket. You know, and us as filmmakers, we spend $3,000, $6,000, $10,000 on a short film. You think we get a cut of anything that comes out of a film festival?
Right.
No, dude. You know, we pay the money to go show at some film festival in South Carolina, you know, to submit. We're paying for them to look at it. And then maybe if they choose to show it, they got to, you know, they're charging admission for everybody to come in. But hey man, it's exposure, you know.
Right.
No. Get your shit out there. Find a venue. Show, you know, and show your stuff in as many places as you can.
Yep.
And if you have a film, if you're watching this and you have a film, it's West End Summer Film Series at gmail.com. You know, send it. We've got, you know, like I said, we've got over 100 films, but, you know, you don't have to pay to submit it. You just have to be from around here and come and attend the screening. That's it.
Right.
Well, one thing I'll add to that too is if you submit your film to all these festivals and you do get into festivals, it's cost prohibitive to then go travel to all these festivals. You know, if you have like a 20-minute film, they're not really paying to fly you in. So if you go so you can connect with people who have seen your movie, that costs money. You know, but if you take your own exhibition into your own hands and you set up screenings at places, you know, that's a really great time to start making a connection with the audience that comes out.
With an audience, yes sir.
Yeah, and if there's anything we discovered since we started doing our screenings at the Cary Theater, is that there is an audience here who is hungry for local films. You know, people do give a damn about local films, which is just amazing.
It seems like the trick is to get, you know, like you were saying, you don't want to just be showing your stuff to other filmmakers.
Yeah,
because they got their own films they're interested in. You want to try to find a way to show it to the public. So like you said, that one farm who's doing the potluck, you know, that's not a potluck of 50 filmmakers. That's a potluck of 50 maybe it's a
Foodies.
church group or
Yeah.
foodies or whatever, and so those are people who that's the general public going out and seeing your thing.
Well, that's who we need to be hitting anyway, and that's one of the missions of Triangle Film Community, like connecting local films to local audiences, and we've been doing it, which has been really nice. And to go to another point, talking about film festivals, one of the things that we do differently with FilmSpark, we don't charge admission to the screenings. I mean, we can't. SparkCon is a completely free event. So all the money that comes in through submission fees, we use to rent the venue that we screen at. Like the way SparkCon is run, no one in FilmSpark is getting any of that money. It's just going straight to expenses.
Right. Well, and we also have, we don't charge much for the submission fee. I think right now it's $15.
$15, right?
We have discount codes and all that stuff. And yeah, like you said, sometimes we got to rent venues. Last year we got lucky and our venue was free. The theater at the the North Carolina Museum of History. But there were a couple.
It still costs us money.
There were a couple days that we either started early or ran late. We knew we were going to run late. We were showing a movie after the museum closed,
Right.
So they made us pay for the staff that they had to keep around. Security guards and all that stuff. And that was a couple $100 that comes out of pocket. But
Yeah.
when you're only charging $10 for for the festival, or to submit to the festival, that money, that's not a big pile of money. It burns through quickly.
We barely cleared, because we.
I bet the people who do Sundance make out pretty well though.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'd just like to be a bartender at Sundance. I bet you that's. I bet you see some shit. You know what I mean?
Man. Yeah, I bet people ring some nice tabs there.
No, I've had some horror stories submitting into film festivals though. Like there's one in South Carolina. I won't name it. But like now that Film Freeway says you can review and rate film festivals, you know that.
Mhm.
You send your film
Yeah,
festival
it's
out to something and they accept it.
thing.
You get to rate and review it.
Oh.
I got this one film festival. They accept my film. They tell, hey, congratulations, you're in. However, it turns out, that they changed up the theater, the programming for the theater. So we're only gonna be able to show half the films we submit. We'll let you know a week beforehand if yours is one of the ones that we choose to submit, so you can make your plans, your travel plans, and all that with this little time crunch. So we'll let you know in about a month. By the way, here's your internet laurels. Thanks for the $35.
Ouch.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Film Freeway, because now I got to leave a review.
We have a
5 stars, right?
we had a little bit of a horror story too. There was a comedy film festival. I can't remember which one off the top of my head we submitted to, and we submitted a YouTube link. And since the film hadn't gotten any views in quite a while, we were kind of curious, like, was it watched? How long was it watched?
Mhm.
And there was like one view on it, and the view was like 15 seconds. And it was, I think we paid probably about $60 to put that in there
Yeah.
for 15 seconds. Like, you didn't even give it a chance.
It is not a sustainable model. It is not. As a short fiction author, I will submit short stories, and if the thing says, hey, you send in a payment with the short story, then you don't submit to them, because fuck them, they're shady.
Right.
You send it to them, and then they look at it and they're like, hey, this is good, we want it. Here's how much we're going to pay you to print it, and then here's a free copy of it to go along with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just look at, and that's one guy that sat down with pen and paper and wrote a thing. That's not a guy that got actors and paid them and got tech and got crew and got this and and pre-production and paid all of this money, and now we're paying our art to go somebody else to show our art, look at our art to decide if it's worth showing. I don't think it's a sustainable model. I don't think so at all.
Well, especially when, really, you could just upload something to YouTube
Exactly.
and get it in front of the whole world.
Exactly.
Now that gets into a whole argument about, is anybody going to go to your YouTube video? Not unless you built up an audience ahead of time and everything. But that's
Or you work
again,
on
it's-
Well, I think mentioning YouTube leads us into something else we haven't already mentioned, but I think it's kind of insidious, or I just don't like the idea of it anyway. The online film festival. This idea that it's a film festival,
I've seen those.
but it's just on a web page. Like, what the hell is that?
I'm with you on that.
I've heard of it. I've never actually tried one of those.
We just had a small discussion in film community. Someone, I guess they were like advertising for submissions to an online film festival, and the thing kind of came up. It's like, there's, part of what makes a film festival good is that you can go and you can interact with the audience that's there. You don't get that when it's on a web page.
Well, if you're just watching 10 videos on a YouTube or on a web page, I can do that. I can go home and watch 10 YouTube videos when I get home this afternoon. That's not a film festival.
And the submission fee was like $43.
Yeah, it makes. I think I looked at that same submission thing. Yeah, because I saw that a couple of times too. And and the ones that don't even say it's an online film festival, you have to read define print. And by the way, Film Freeway, Way Out of Box, whatever, read define fucking print.
And the rules.
Yeah,
and for God's sake, read the rules.
And the rules. But they'll but that's what they'll say. You'll read all the way through. So, this thing looks kind of good. Blah, blah, blah. And it says this is an online only festival, and I had to Google that. I was like, what the hell is an online only festival? Is that what? Because other festivals, I think, don't they kick you out if your stuff is available online when you're. I mean, I don't know how it works, but it's
no. There's some festivals that won't screen you if it's online. There's some festivals that won't screen you if you screened it in even just one time at a theater. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's all these weird rules about exhibiting this. I don't see this in any other art form.
No. Well, I mean, I know in publishing they want to be the first one to publish a story. A lot of times everybody wants to, reprints are a little hard to go around, but no, I'm absolutely, absolutely.
Well, and I understand if you're, if you've got this festival and you got a theater and you're trying to get people to come in, it's going to be harder to get people to come in and sit down if you're showing stuff that they know they can sit at home and watch on a YouTube page. I understand the logic there, but there's also, take it a step further, and there are places that are like, oh, well, we want this to be the whatever debut of your film. This is the state debut, this is the local debut, this is whatever. Oh, so if you submitted to this other festival and got in, we're not showing it here. And it's like,
yeah, if that's going to be the case, if I'm going to premiere, if I'm going to pop my cherry to my film's cherry at a premiere, and it's going to, they need to have me an audience that's not just a whole bunch of filmmakers, audience of people that really like stuff. Somebody's, I shouldn't have to pay a ticket to get in, and a hand job, wouldn't be bad.
So Cucaloris, please hook Eryk up with a hand job.
Do they do hand jobs at Cucaloris?
I should hope so. Somebody's got to.
I know they did at Carborough, but anyway.
But yeah, even if your film is available online, one thing that you can add to the experience of seeing it, besides it being on a big screen with fantastic sound, is offer yourself as part of like the draw. Like, hey, Q&A, like meet the filmmaker, meet the actors, have this interaction with the people who made it.
Right, which is absolutely something we do with the screening series at the Cary Theater, and we also try to do it at Film Spark too.
Right,
and you're doing it at the West End also.
West End, yeah, we really are asking. We've done a pretty good job of checking with people beforehand. Before we tell them, hey, you're in, make sure you're in town. We don't want to screen your thing and you're not here, and the people come and they like it or don't like it and don't know who to address this grievance with. So we want to make sure that you're there. I think on a couple of occasions somebody said I can't attend, but for the most part, everybody's going to be there.
Well, and I've started getting people sending their films in for a couple weeks down the line, the horror and the LGBT weeks, and all those responses so far have been, yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
Where is this place? But I'll definitely be there.
Good.
Well, I think something that's really important for us filmmakers to start doing is definitely building personal connections with the audience. It's something that it's something that we can do that Hollywood can't. Just because Hollywood's just too big, it's too well known, it's too famous. Everybody wants a little piece of that pie. But since we're smaller and we're basically regular people who just happen to have this like passion for something that's incredibly expensive to do, that isn't drugs, but it's like a drug. Building a personal connection with the audience, and people who want to engage with our works is something that it's just the best way. Start building yourself up as a brand, for lack of a better word, or having that kind of following. Musicians are great at this, man. Like you go to shows and you see these bands interacting with their fans. They're so tight with everybody. Like the Raleigh, the Triangle music community, man, that's tight as hell.
Mm-hmm.
All those people know each other and they all support each other. And there's none of this kind of like, oh, I'm only going to show up if it's like my thing.
Right.
But they're just so incredibly tight with each other. They've built a community, and that just kind of starts to spread out. Like, people got these connections with other communities, and it's just insanely awesome. And it's something I'm not saying us doing, and I think it's something we need to do.
Right. Networking, working together. You can only learn so much from looking at your own stuff, but you go and see what works for other communities and see if it can apply here. So, yeah. That's what we try to do with Triangle Film Community and Local Film Talk and all that other stuff. Is just try to get in there and promote other people's stuff. Like we're here talking to Eryk about the West End screenings. Granted, I'm a part of that, but I'd also try to get your butt in here even if I wasn't. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's always fun. It's always fun kicking with you guys.
Well, we've been going for about 45 minutes. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I don't know what a good wrap it up question
Wrap it
is.
up, B.
Wrap it up, man. But yeah, West End screening.
Yeah, dude, it's 7 and 9. Starts June the 1st all the way to August 31st. It's going to be a theme every week. If you want to check out what's showing, we've got a Facebook page for the West End Summer Film Series. There's an event page, West End Summer Film Series. Go to the West End Wine Bar at Chapel Hills Facebook page. They have one as well. We've got a website. We've got the email. All this stuff will be put into things, right? Like the website, the email, you can check that out. My name is Eryk Pruitt. I'm Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We've got a website, erykpruitt.com, so check that out. All of these things will be listed on there. So if you're like, hey, I really like horror films, can't make it to the first horror, try to get a second horror. You never know. So you want to come to the first one.
We've only got the first 4 weeks planned out right now, thematic-wise.
I've got a couple more weeks, but it's loose. I'm trying to.
But like you say, if we get another, dozen horror films in, week 3 is horror. Maybe week 12 can be horror too.
If you're watching this, send the shit in, man, because maybe you're thinking like, hey, I want to show my film in a bar filled with couches, drink specials, popcorn from Mad Popper Popcorn. And drink specials. Look, let me tell you, we can get you shit.
I was gonna ask you if you got the drink specials set up for this week.
Oh, I do, but it's a surprise. Ooh, it's a surprise.
We'll announce that at 7 when we first start out. We'll tell you all what they are.
So y'all come out. It's gonna be fun all summer long.
Mm-hmm. And another thing to add is that, like I said, if you have a horror film and it's not in this first horror block, maybe we'll do another horror block. Go ahead and send it in because it might fit into something else we do. Maybe you made a horror film where the main character is a female. Well, maybe somewhere down the line, week 8 or 9, we have a screening where it's all films with female leads. So even though yours is a horror movie and we already did horror movies, it fits into this other thing. So go ahead and send it in, and we might find some way to work it in one category or another.
Oh yeah.
And then Conrad, obviously, Film Spark and the Triangle Film Community screenings.
Right.
Any updates on what's coming up with Film Spark or what our next Triangle Film Community
We're
screening is?
currently judging entries we've received so far. We're still open for entries for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. We're not even at the high end. We're still in the medium range.
We're
We're
in the medium. We're not in the late period. Not for a while. Our next screening at the Cary won't be until July.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still figuring out what we're going to show.
Mm-hmm.
And Eryk is Snapchatting us again.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Now all the teens know we're here.
But yeah, that's I think that's been a pretty great conversation. We're at about 50 minutes now, so I think it's time to wrap it up.
That's our time. Thanks. Good night. Drive safe.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, come out if it's the last thing you fucking do. Come out. Wednesdays starting June 1st, ending August 31st. And also a little non-film related, but like I said, Noir at the Bar is June 16th at 106 Main. It starts at 7 o'clock. It's gonna be a hoot. All this information is found on my website, erykpruitt.com, Facebook, Twitter. Find yourself awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. Want to see pictures of my dick? Follow me on Snapchat. It's great. So I'm all over the place.
And also remember, throughout the rest of the summer, West End Summer Film Series and Film Spark still taking submissions. Because even though the West End Summer Film Series is starting now, we don't have all the films yet that we'll need for the last, 3-4 weeks and everything. So
Praise
keep
Jesus.
submitting to both.
Praise Jesus.
And submit to both. You got a film, submit it to both festivals. Maybe you get into one, maybe the other, maybe you get into both. So, as always, thank you to my co-host Conrad Arnold, especially for helping provide this equipment setup so we could do this live and in person, and also figuring out all the kinks last
Google
week.
Hangouts suck.
Yeah, Google Hangouts is kind of a pain in the ass, and you can only get so good a resolution, especially now that they're doing P2P links rather than just using their servers. So, but it would be also nice to be able to, just get this higher quality thing and be able to switch it in person. We're trying to learn how to do live switching too, so this is good practice. And of course, thank you to Eryk Pruitt for being here and talking about the West End Summer Film Series. Also for thanking Jesus and everything earlier.
And having that fine head of hair.
It's great to have probably one of the few shows out there that both invokes Jesus and has so many butt sex jokes in it in one episode. So.
North Carolina.
And yes, the fine set of hair. It is a week of epic hair. I'm saying I'm getting into McDonald's Arches territory here. And of course, Conrad with those lovely curly locks.
So curly.
So, and we're all a little scruffy right now. It's also facial hair week too.
I've been shooting the past 5 days. I haven't had time to shave.
Fucking holiday, man.
So anyways, this has been Local Film Talk. You can follow us on Twitter at Local Film Talk. If you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to email localfilmtalk@gmail.com. Unless you're offended by all the butt jokes, that's just kind of the way it happens.
If you're offended by butt jokes, leave a comment below. Tell us how offended you are. If you thought butt jokes were awesome, leave a comment and tell us how awesome butt jokes are. If you feel kind of threatened by Eryk's dick at 3 a.m., leave a comment. Let us know.
Go onto iTunes and give the podcast 5 stars.
5 stars.
And a review. So anyways, this has been another episode of Local Film Talk. Thank you to Conrad, my co-host, and our guest Eryk. And we will see you guys next week.